little speed talk is about testing package implementations. First, I think I have to explain what I mean by a package implementation. Packages, to me, I consider a package a piece of software created by a vendor, used for different customers, and well-known examples of packages are SAP, Oracle, Siebel. But what you also see in many industries are more dedicated packages, for instance, for pension funds, insurance company, telecommunications. In most of these industries, specific packages exist. And what I find in the organizations that I visit, and what I also hope or expect your experience to be, is that there is a potential difference between testing a package implementation and testing a custom-made piece of software. The point I will make in this presentation is that it's still testing, only it's the risks are different for a package compared to a custom-made software. And another point I'm going to make is that these risks are more often underestimated for packages than for custom-made software. And the final point in this little speed talk is that there is really that we really have to sell testing a lot more than in custom-made software development, specifically because there is a, let's say, conflict between implementation partners and professional testers in that aspect. First, quick introduction about myself. My name is Tim Koomen. In the IT industry over 20 years, and I think now close to 18 years of experience in the testing field. A co-author of testing books on structured testing, like the TMAP method, and also on the test process improvement model. And finally, also proud winner of the 2003 European Excellence Award for testing. Packages. Let's start at the beginning. Let's say, when do organizations decide when to implement a package? The first step, the first phase, is usually the selection phase. And although I would hope for otherwise, but in fact I often have the feeling that the decision for the specific package is decided on the golf course between higher business management. But if package selection is done right, then we will see that requirements for the package are created, are designed, and even at that particular early moment, we can already start testing. For instance, we can do a proof of concept test. And in the more mature organizations, they really also do those kinds of tests. But in many other organizations, we see it far too seldom. After selection of the package, we will continue with the implementation phase, usually consisting of something like project initiation, blueprint phase, let's say the architectural design, and then the realization and the tuning of the package, because packages often consist of many parameters that can be set in many different combinations, let's say to create the fit to the organization, because that is one of the important differences between a custom-made software, which can be created in an exact fit to the organization, and a package always has to be tuned, has to be fitted and for the organization. And that means setting parameters, also with packages, creating certain pieces of custom-made software, for instance, for interfaces with the existing systems. And it will also create different kinds of challenges. Let's say the users need to be trained. Very often the processes in the organization, let's say around the package, will change, because you can only change the package so much. And the more you have to tune it, the more maintenance that will also mean later on. So often the organization has to change, system management procedures will change. So there are all kinds of things that change, that will be different. And that's not often right away thought of. Finally, the package is going into production and the maintenance phase starts with regular new releases that again have to be tested, regression testing therefore, possible change requests, and so on. Still, talking to customers, project managers, as a professional tester, so from my point of view, I often get the impression that they are not really interested in testing. And they will say things like, okay, we don't see any particular risks that we can address with testing because, well, the software works. The vendor has already proven that the software works, so why should we expect any problems? And okay, we made some tuning in the parameters, etc., but these are minor changes, and if it fails in production, okay, we can quickly change a few parameters and things will still work. Other things I hear is that the implementation partner will take care of everything. So for the customer, there are no risks because the implementation partner takes care of it all. It can be. So if there are no risks, I always say, okay, then I can leave because then we don't have to test. On the other hand, the art of testing is also about the art of asking questions. So I will ask questions like, are you sure that the system, the package, will work correctly? Are you sure that the parameters have been set correct? Are you sure that the custom-made software, specific for instance for the interfaces, does it really work correct, the way you expect it to work? Are you also sure that your users can work with the new package? And are you sure that the package has a good fit with the work processes, the business processes, the way you intend these processes to work? Are the authorizations, are they set correctly? Or can that maybe be a problem when you go live in production? System management, is it in order? Can they install, backup, recovery, etc., all with the package? Just asking questions. And if the customer can answer yes to all these questions, I shake hands and say, okay, you've done a good job, we can say goodbye. If, and that usually is the case, the customer or project manager says, okay, I'm not quite sure, then maybe we have, I think, a good reason to talk about testing. And have to think, even a cut here. Yeah. For instance, if the customer project manager still assumes that implementing a package is low risk, I ask them to Google for failures and the name of their particular package. So for instance, if you Google for sub failures, I think you will quickly find several recorded cases where tens of millions have been lost, failed projects, and so on. And that is, in this particular instance, it's SAP, but it's also for Siebel, Oracle, etc. So, in my opinion, the risks for package implementations, they are different, but they are there, and they are different from custom-made software, but there are definitely risks, and But the problem is that these are often underestimated by the people in the organization. And that is where we as testers, as professional testers, have to do our job. We have to, let's say, create this risk awareness. We have to make sure that the people think about these risks. And with good testing, we can make a measure to reduce these risks. Even a cut, please. Now, in fact, is this new? Do we have to radically change the way we usually test? No, definitely not. We can just use the practices from testing from custom-made software. We only have to apply it just a little bit differently. For instance, because testing is a risk-based activity, so for instance, we will not test the functionality of the package. We can assume that the vendor has done that, but we have to we have to pay a lot more attention to testing the suitability of the package in the organization, the fit within the business. Those are the things that you have to pay attention to. Security is an issue, performance is an issue, and definitely, let's say, the custom-made software added on the package, because that is often created in a less structured way than custom-made software as a whole, if it's totally custom-made software. Add-ons on a package are often a little bit more, let's say, call them unstructured, just used to make an interface work, and interfaces are often where the defects can be found. How can we? What kind of tests do we apply? We have we test the individual work processes. We test the integration of the work processes. We go from end-to-end testing, so the package, but also with other systems in the organization. Stress testing may be a test type, regression testing, and very early in the life cycle, during selection, we can do a proof of concept test. And during maintenance, we have to pay a lot of attention to regression tests, mainly regression tests. Information, let's say the information we use to base our tests on will also be different. It will not be, let's say, the requirements and functional design. It will be more things like work processes, description of work processes, business processes, blueprints, release notes, which can be, let's say, just one small piece of paper, or it can be a complete book of many tens of pages. So there are differences there. And I think also we will have to rely a lot more on the undocumented knowledge of the business users in the organization. And then finally, let's say, from the organizational point of view, who should do the testing? Let's say the roles that we need: tester, test manager, test support. That is the same as always. We need to fill this in with people, and in totally we have to create a right mixture of expertise, mixture of testing, mixture of infrastructure knowledge, of the package expertise, of the business expertise. If this whole mixture is there, we have a good testing. In my experience, we often have, let's say, I would say a commercial conflict with the implementation partner, who will say, you as a professional tester, how many years of experience do you have with my particular package? And as the tester at that moment would say, okay, not really at all, but I do know about testing, then they will say, no, if you do not know our package, you cannot test it. And they will, let's say, try to get the assignment to one of their people, which is often a very good package expert, but often a less good tester. So that would be, and that is something, that is a conflict that I very often see in practice. Hopefully, in this talk, I've given you possibly some arguments how to go into a discussion like that with a customer, project manager, or implementation partner.